Record, it's recording. I'll cut that bit out. I'm hoping to get better setup and lighting and all that. Alright.
I just got to start sometimes, hey?
Yeah, just exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the K-Dub podcast. I'm very excited because one of my good friends, we just met recently in recent times, and we got talking, and I thought to myself, these are the kind of incredible people that are so inspirational because they're just out there and actually doing the deed and actually meeting community and not just talking the talk. And so I'm going to introduce my friend Kimberly, and she's going to sort of talk a little bit in a nutshell of her journey up until now and what she does. Yes, she's a politician, and I love politicians, and somewhere in my life I'm a politician. Maybe in the future, I don't know. Maybe you can coach me, you can mentor me.
Sure.
But I believe in you so much to the point where I was actually out there volunteering on election day, making sure that people had a chance and an opportunity to hear what you're all about, which is what I'm all about. And so I think, without further ado, who are you?
Well, my name's Kimberly Hone. I've been involved in politics for about 15 years. I just started by helping a friend one day, actually,
Wow.
And he inspired me, and he would run knowing that he probably wasn't going to win.
Wow.
And I just kept remember thinking, why would someone do that?
Yeah.
It must be someone with such conviction to do that.
Yeah.
And so he kept speaking politics over my life. He kept saying to me, you're so called to this space. And eventually I just kept exploring that, I suppose. I met some wonderful Christians who made change within a year of their first year in politics, and I thought, okay, maybe you can actually make real change in Australia in politics,
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was a foreign world for me. A lot of people ask me, how did you get involved in politics? I think politics found me.
Wow.
I didn't go out. I never spent any time thinking one day I want to be involved in politics or one day I want to be a politician. It just found me. I think I got to a place where I felt disillusioned by our leaders and our government.
Mm-hmm.
I was working as a family support worker at one stage, and the prep teacher at that school said to me, can you come and have a look at all the kids in my class? And I said, yeah, sure. And one by one, she got them to come up to me and smile, just say hello to Mrs. Home and smile. And they all had black rotten teeth, all of them. And I remember thinking, wow, how are we getting this so wrong? How are we not supporting our families?
Wow.
How are we? And I just started to think about the responsibility of good governance.
Yeah.
And I think that was a bit of a turning point for me. And then from there, I kind of started to steer towards governance and then learn over time, that God is all about good governance, good leadership. The smallest form of government is a family unit. God's all about order and principles that set people free and principles that generate life and possibilities and creativity. And so, the more I explore this space, the more I realize God's all about good governance.
That is incredible. I think as a Christian myself, walking this life, reading and understanding what we're to do with leadership, honoring it, working with it, supporting it, and then seeing some of the dysfunctional sides and aspects of leadership, it stirs me. It stirs me, and that's one of the things where I think I've connected with you, because when you talk in just general talk, you see things that, so somebody else would have seen rotten teeth, and you saw a hole in the system, and you've gone, no, something is wrong. Maybe it was just one person, but still, even if it's one person, it's like, why do we have a situation where your teeth are not healthy? One of the areas that I'm really passionate about, I've had many jobs in the past. One of the jobs that I had for up to a period of 5 years was with Mission Australia Housing, and one of the projects that I did while I was there was this thing that I just called it, I think it was Senior Services Collective, and loneliness and isolation was just such a big issue. And this was in Western Sydney, so there's no lack of shortages in terms of services, and however there was just this like hole in the atmosphere. You could feel it, you could touch it. It's so tangible, and when you're talking to people that are retired and senior, above 65 and as young as 50, I just found that there was just this hole, this longing for belonging and stuff. So I guess I just want to go into a little bit of what are some of your insights and what's some of the best practice that you've seen outworked, and where's your heart, and where do you think leaders, and not just leaders in terms of the politicians, but leaders in terms of whether you're a CEO, whether you're just a dad or just a whatever, like if you find yourself in a place of influence, because leadership is influence, so leaders as in influential people, what can we do to help eradicate loneliness and isolation?
They're really big questions. I think sometimes we have to slow down long enough to see the issue and to see the problem. So I'll give you just a real practical example. Yesterday, I've just had an election. We're packing up 2 offices. I'm flat out, I'm exhausted. But there's a lady outside my office on the payphone, just beside herself. And I slowed down long enough to watch, listen, and I could see she was in a really bad way. And I was able to go out there and help her. And she was disconnected. Her phone wasn't working. She needed help. She needed assistance. And that day could have been very lonely for her. But I was able to say, hey, I've got a phone, let me help you. And I think it's just that taking that moment to slow down and see the world around us. And our Western culture tells us we have to hustle, be busy. And I don't think we slow down long enough to see the suffering around us. I think also, if you look at volunteer organisations around Australia, and I'm not sure if this is the same case around the world, but around Australia, most of them can't facilitate their volunteer base anymore. They can't get volunteers.
That is so true.
And so a lot of these people who would have found connection in a volunteer group are not doing that anymore.
Wow.
And they're getting disconnected.
Yeah. And
one of the reasons for that, believe it or not, is actually really bad legislation. So because we are legislating so much and we're becoming such a nanny state, the volunteers go, this is too hard. I just want a social connection. I'm out. I'll give you a practical example of that. The Lions Club used to build bus shelters all the time. But now there's so much legislation about how a bus shelter needs to look and be, and safety and all of this jazz. And a lot of these old men with tools and these amazing skill sets went, I'm out. It's too hard.
Yeah.
And now they're disconnected. I think one of the other...
And they're the ones that are now lonely.
Yeah, they need it the most. And I think one of the other massive practical things that is impacting loneliness, I'll say there's 2 more. One is technology. And that is teaching our younger generation a false sense of relationship. I'm part of the SES, I'm a volunteer in the SES, and there's quite a few young people in the SES, and I remember having a chat with a couple of young people in their 20s. These kids were cool, like super cool guys, a guy and a girl. And they were saying to me, my generation does not know how to make relationships. We don't know how to be friends, let alone in a serious relationship.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, what are you talking about? And it was so interesting to hear from these 2 kids who were cool as saying, I'm putting my hand up and saying, I can't make friends. It's unbelievably crazy. And then I think the other thing is just the way that we relate to one another. I think we've had years and years now of this division complex. So like it's an us and them mentality.
Yeah, wow.
And, it's like right and left, in politics. It's Aboriginal, non-Aboriginal, old and young. It's just this division. Everywhere you look, And I would say that's a spiritual thing that we've allowed to come into our nation.
I agree.
And it's a disunity.
Yep.
And we need to get that unity back again.
Yep.
And until we have that, we're going to have people who are lonely because they'll say, I'm disconnected because I can't relate to you. Or I won't reach out and help you because you might not like me. You're on the other side of the fence.
Wow. So the first thing that you said was slow down and actually process what's going on. I just had this light bulb moment a few years ago where I just had this analogy, and I try and use it. I call it the river analogy. If you're walking down a trail, hiking, there are three kinds of people in the world. There's the first group. You get to the part where there's a river and a little bridge. You see all this rubbish in the water, right? The first person goes, meh, not my problem. Carry on, maybe take some photos, some selfies, and go, oh, look at this rubbish over here. They carry on with their life. There's the second group of people that are gonna panic, they're gonna freak out. They're just gonna just jump in there and just start trying to get all this stuff out. You don't know if it's hazardous material, you don't know if you can swim or not, you're just gonna harm yourself, and the rubbish keeps coming. And then there's the third group of people, and my hope and prayer is that we're all, I guess in our different ways, becoming that third person where you actually stop, analyze the situation, and you realize, okay, the rubbish is coming from upstream in that direction. You stop what your journey is, you rally people around you, you follow the rubbish where it's coming from. It's a village that is unequipped, unempowered, uneducated. It is a company that is unequipped, uneducated. Awareness campaigns, all of that partnership, you partner with them, take them on a journey of the impact of the rubbish downstream, so that down the track everyone is on the same page to keep so I really relate with that. And I think as a person who loves sport, do you have an NRL team?
No, I play soccer.
You play soccer?
Yeah.
Awesome. What position?
Defence.
Nice. Of course, you're a visionary. Of course. In a grand final 2 years ago, between the Penrith Panthers and the Brisbane Broncos, I don't know if you have watched it, but there was this moment. 2 months after this grand final, Nathan Cleary, who is an absolute freak of a player, was on a podcast and was being asked, how did you do that? Because what happened was the Broncos were smashing the Panthers. It was 24 points to 8 with 14 minutes to go.
Wow.
Somehow Penrith wins the game 26-24. So in 14 minutes, this guy just was able to slow down. His answer on the podcast, he said, I just had to slow down and be present and take the next opportunity, because it was going to create an opportunity for the next opportunity. And it was just it led to try after try after try. And his try at the end of the game, it was like parting the Red Sea. It was just like this. If you're a Penrith Panthers fan, it was like one of those moments that you just I could die now. It was just the master in his moment, just slowing down and just executing and just anyway. So I'm really with you on that one. And I think that with the last thing you said, you're talking about just people that are just there, and they're just I need a phone.
Yeah.
They don't need money. They don't need. We overcomplicate things. They just need. I need a phone. I need to make a couple of phone calls.
Yeah.
You know.
And you can radically change someone's day just by doing one simple thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. So, I think we're going to leave this at part 1, because I want to keep exploring this, and we are going to definitely keep in packaging, and I'm not saying this out loud, okay? Don't hold me accountable, but the wannabe politician in me how your journey started, and you said you were just helping someone, and one thing led to another. I don't know if I end up down that road, but we never know. But thank you so much.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. And
Awesome.
thank you for helping me on one of the biggest boots where we've never had people before. So thank you so much.
You know what, I just love people. When I got there a little bit later in the day, and there was all the other parties and wearing the t-shirts, and they've got the pamphlets, and they're all passionate about what they believe in. They're like looking at me, and I'm like, oh, I'm here to volunteer, I'm looking for so and so, and they're like, oh, why are you volunteering for them? They literally said that to me. And I'm kind of like, why are you volunteering for? Who are you volunteering for? We love Australia. I literally said that. And they're like, oh, okay. So then our little team, we're like rotating couple of little stations, and this one old bloke, he had a red t-shirt on, Labour. He had a South Sydney cap on, and my love for footy. We just got right into footy, and he became my best friend that whole day. So he's giving out his Labour stuff, I'm giving out national stuff, and we're just standing there, and we're just like having the best time. And when we left at 5:30, I was just like, oh, I love him. And he's just telling me we were talking about the same things: cost of living, the treatment of First Nations people, the education and awareness of young people. We're talking about youth disengagement, youth engagement, all of the things, and we're just like, but we're supporting different things. And I love your approach to, we make friends with everyone, and I've actually personally witnessed your friendship with the Labour people, with the Liberal people, and I think it's
even
great. Even the Greens. Yes, even the Greens. Absolutely.
I do have a reputation out there that she's nice. I'm like, wow, the world must really be suffering if they see someone nice and are so obsessed with that and go, wow, she's nice.
You know, as Christians, the Bible do tell us that they will know the genuineness of Jesus, and they will know the genuineness of our God by our love for one another and for others.
Yeah.
And so what, you're voting that, or I like this and you like that, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we all want the same thing.
We're all people.
We're all people.
Yeah, God's people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all bleed Labour red. No, that was a joke. We all bleed red. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day, and I'll see you soon.
Excellent. Thanks very much. That was so fun.
Yeah.